Well, happy Thursday. And as one can see, me and the cheetah are chilling here on a Thursday. Um, he's purring. He's happy. So we're here to talk about. We just saw this on Jason's uh, YouTube. 21 top movies that you should all own. So everybody should own. He got this from his friend Craig, and I saw his, and so I thought I'd go ahead and throw down my 21 movies that I think everybody should own. And just like Jason said, these aren't necessarily maybe my top favorite movies. Those that are, I'll definitely mention, but these are movies that maybe have touched me the most. I definitely think every film collector should have them, or people should watch them for various reasons. I'll just touch on them lightly as I go on. Um, this list was put together and assisted by Paladin, the mighty cheetah. And they're in no particular order, they're just what they are. And yeah, so I started off my list with a movie you guys probably laugh at as a starter, but I had my reasons because I just said these aren't necessarily my favorites, nor are they ranked. I just put them down on the first as they came to me. So the first movie I put down was Godzilla 1954. The reason why I put Godzilla down because yes, it is a monster movie as everybody knows, but it also has a lot to say about the use of atomic weapons and the fallout from it. Um, it was a very serious film. It wasn't hokey or jokey in any means. It was. It's one thing about Japanese movies, for the most part. Um, they sort of play it straight. They never really look at the camera or wink at you. I mean, yeah, there's some silliness in it, but some of the movies are, yeah, they're straight up like looking at you, and they're not joking. They're just saying they got a story to tell, so they tell it. And just because it involves a man in a rubber suit doesn't make it less any important, or or lessen the message. Two, yes, this is a definite favorite of mine, and I've mentioned this movie many times. And that's Gettysburg. Um, I've actually been to Gettysburg. I've walked the battlefields. I watched the movie. Um, yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful movie, and it says a lot about us as a country if you really open your mind and literally listen to what the men were saying and the dialogue. It's extraordinary. And the fact the movie was filmed on the battlefield itself adds a lot of poignancy to it, a lot of power behind it. Three, To Kill a Mockingbird with Gregory Peck, story of Atticus Finch, a small town lawyer in Alabama, and the social injustices that went down there in the 50s and hell, even today. Powerful movie. Uh, Four, Promises in the Dark. Um, I saw this movie when I was 15 years old, and never once in my life did I ever think that I would live that movie. Um, um, but I did in many respects, and it just haunts the living shit out of me. And it's a great movie, one that's not really talked about anymore, but it's a really good movie. Um, Marshall Mason and Kathleen Beller. Five, Heist. Well, because no list can be a true list of 21 great films to own if you leave out a David Mamet film. David Mamet is probably the most underrated, the most, probably the best film writer I've ever seen. Um, I watch this movie just for the dialogue. I don't care. They could be talking about painting or, you know, raking the leaves. If it's written by David Mamet, I'm watching it. And Heist is just an awesome movie. Six is Friday. That's my favorite comedy of all time. I love this movie. This movie is so much fun. It is so many lines. Um, just a day in the life of two slackers in L.A., South Central L.A. This is the movie that put Chris Tucker on the map, and with Ice Cube and the recently passed away Tiny Lister who played Debo. Just a funny ass movie and a little bit of an edge at the end of it. Uh, Seven, Saving Private Ryan. Probably the best World War II movie. Probably as far as covering a battle goes, ever made. Landings on D-Day. The horrific, this terrific, this battle and the death and destruction, how it really was. Um, Very, very impressive. Um, and it had a really good story in it too. Powerful story, true story. Uh, the Thin Man. Uh, my first exposure to black and white, uh, comedy, mystery. This had William Powell and Myrna Loy in it as Nick and Nora Charles. Probably the one of the funniest and most entertaining movie series ever put on film. Double Indemnity with Frank McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck. Again, just total love of the language, uh, the way they speak, and the mystery, and what some people will actually do for love. Um, and when they don't think with their brains. It's a great movie. Uh, Number 10, I put Psycho. This is probably the true origin of American horror. Um, I know some people might say, well, the Universal monsters. Yeah, but that's sort of fantasy. If you really think about it, Frankenstein and Dracula and Invisible Man. Psycho was more based in real life, and to me, that made it a lot more scarier, um, and opened the door for a lot of different ways for us to. Well, it still influenced us today. Every single slasher film or mass murder or anything else like that comes from origin or comes from Psycho. It probably is the true origin of the American horror movie. Uh, Number 11, Jaws. Uh, and this is another. This is the movie that established the blockbuster. As far as the summer goes, this is the movie that every year we are during the summer from May to August we all rush to the theater to watch the big summer movies, and Jaws was the first one who got that ball rolling. Number 12 is Superman, and this is the origin of the superhero movie. While it did have a rough, bumpy ride to get after Superman 2, from Superman 2 to Spawn and Blade, it was a rough patch in between, but it really is the first true superhero movie that showed that movies like this could be made and made right. Number 13 is Platoon. This is the essential Vietnam War film for me. I know a lot of people like Apocalypse Now, but I think Platoon is a lot more rooted and much more rooted in reality and how it really was over there. And for that, I think it's a better film, and the one that I put on my list. Number 14 might be a little controversial, or people actually might be shaking their heads because they never heard of it. That's all right. And that's a movie called Night Mother. Um, and it has a story of a mother and a daughter. The daughter is very depressed, and she wants to end her life. And she basically tells her mother that in the morning she's going to do so. And the mother spends all night trying to stop her daughter from doing just that. Um, I the daughter wasn't wrong. Um, Probably the only way things she was did wrong was she did in front of her mother. I probably would have said no to that. But the reasons behind what she did, they're hers. And sometimes we just have to let go. And we shouldn't attach a stigma to it for adults. Uh, Anybody who's under 20, under 25, yeah, probably wouldn't advise that. Bad idea. But older adults who want that out, like Robin Williams, who are we to say that's the wrong choice for them? If that's their way they want to go, that's their, again, it comes down to free will. And if they feel like they need to do that, I'm not gonna try to stop them. I'm not gonna condemn them. I'm not gonna judge them. And I think Night Mother does a great job of covering that. Number 15. Okay, yeah, I just mentioned this. I know. So I guess this does make my list as on my list. But I'm gonna pick the Dark Song. I've already talked about the movie many times. Look at past videos for reason why. Number 16 is Akira. Uh, this was a fantastic film. Um, in you want to see if you ever want to get into Japanese anime on any level, this is the first and only film you can start off with. This is magnificent. Um, and then after you watch the movie, read the comic book, read the manga. Um, it fleshes out the story tremendously, but the movie itself is just mind-boggling. It's a mind-boggling movie. It's beautiful. It's terrifying. Um, it's so artistically done. Um, yeah, Akira is my favorite movie, animated movie of all time. 17. I put Rocky. Yeah, I'm a Rocky fan too. I mean, who isn't really? You know. Um, what I really liked about Rocky was actually I loved the ending of the movie. I loved the ending that he did not win. He won because he didn't win the fight, but he won his own challenge, and that was to just go the distance. He wasn't gonna win, but all he just wanted to do was just go the distance with Creed, and and that's with all of us. We may not win, but we just want to get to the end, and I think it's beautiful. Um, yeah, Rocky 2 gave us the Hollywood ending we wanted and all the other movies that followed it, but the first one is just the best one for me. Uh, 18 uh, is The Exorcist. I picked this because this shows the evolution of the American horror film. Um, to me, it's like it took it to the whole new level. Rosemary's Baby knocked on the door a little bit, but The Exorcist kicked it in. And I don't think that we would see American horror as we see it today without The Exorcist. Just like we wouldn't see The Exorcist without Psycho. And I think uh, I think The Exorcist just evolved the American horror story all that much more. Um, Supernatural horror, it just came to roost. Now we could do supernatural horror. To me, I am more affected by supernatural horror than I am by physical horror. So, The Exorcist movies like The Exorcist stay with me a little bit more than something like a Friday the 13th. Um, I don't know why. It's just how it is. Um, Number 19, I put Heat because that's just an absolute masterclass in acting. Um, I'm not a big advocate of gun violence per se and shoot 'em ups or whatever, but Heat is just a masterclass of acting. Al Pacino, uh, Robert De Niro, top of their games. Top of their games. I know people say, well, what about The Godfather? You know what? The Godfather's good. I'm not a big fan of it. But Heat is just, it combines, it just, I don't know, it's just a much better movie for me. And the way those two, it helps you look at movies. When you see movies with big stars in it, you start really looking for how many times they interact with their co-stars. Just to watch them talk, just to watch them interact. I really like watching that. Number 20, I sort of cheated and put two here because I had to put two. Um, I put a pair of John Wayne movies here, The Searchers, and I put The Shootist. Because those are my two best John Wayne movies, and I think they should go together. And my last movie I put down was Boys in the Hood. I put Boys in the Hood down because on many levels, where I grew up, me and my brother grew up. We sort of like, okay, we were in South Central LA. We were in a barrio in Ontario, California. But believe me when I tell you, a lot of what happened there happened in our neighborhood. Um, we saw, I saw a lot of death and destruction we're growing up, and the hopelessness and the 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 abject poverty. Hell, I grew up dirt ass poor. Um, and trying to get out and watching people who you really hope to get out never did get a chance. Bad life choices, murder, just drug addiction. Um, I could tell you, it's more the people I could tell you that got out on one hand than the many that didn't. On the rest of I could, on one hand, I could tell you the people that got out versus the three, 4 dozen that didn't, and I knew these people. Boys in the Hood really resonated with me because I could relate to so much of that. Uh, it's a beautiful movie, and sadly, a lot of the message of the movie then still needs to be said today, and isn't that a real shame? So those are my 21 movies. Uh, you can go ahead and leave yours. If you want to make a video, put a link to your video in the comments, and me and the cheater will come by and take a peek at it. It was supposed to be a tag video, but I'm not tagging anybody. If you want to do it, we'd love to have you do it. If not, it's all right. You could watch us, or you could watch Jason's or Craig's. Um, if you liked what you see, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Let us know, let you know when we're doing something like this again. And yeah, this was fun. And hopefully we'll do something like this again soon. So we'll see you on Sunday night at the midnight hour. I'll leave the link down below in the description. And until then, peace.